Hey Lovebugs, so today's video is all about the new, wait for this, Viseart Neutral Mattes Milieu eyeshadow palette. This is an extension to their original matte neutral palette. It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? I think the colors are stunning, they're rich, and they've got such warmth that it'll look beautiful on medium to dark skin tones. No ash here. This is beautiful, rich pigment. Now there's a few things I want to point out. This palette comes in their new Slim Pro magnetic packaging. It's very nice quality. The edges are curved, the hinges are nice and secure. It has this magnetic soft close system. The pans themselves pop out, and so you know the magnets are on the center parts here. So to pop out the pans, if you know where the magnets are, they're super easy to take out. So if I go here, it's harder to pull the magnet out. It's harder to pull the pan out from this side for the blue one because the magnet is here. But if I pull from this side, it pops right out super easily. So you can see here the magnets are in the center rib here and here. So this shade, if I pull from this side, I'll be able to pull it out, but if I try and pull from this side, it's much harder. So some people were complaining that they break shadows as they pull these out, but it's super easy once you know where the magnets are, and it's the same for all of their packaging. You can go ahead and get empty palettes on the Muse Beauty Pro website and mix and match between your Viseart shades. The packaging is really nice and sturdy. It's very efficient. I am an appreciator of the Viseart packaging because with an art painting background, I love the efficiency, the focus being on the shades, the fabulous way that they actually lay out their shadows make a lot of sense if you're familiar with color theory. Which, by the way, side note, if you're interested in learning about color theory as it pertains to makeup, it's kind of a makeup 101 video. I do have a color theory video that you should definitely watch. But the great thing about this palette is down here we've got some cool tones and they're deeper. And traditionally in painting, it's very common to use deeper cool tones to convince the eye that something is receding into space, and lighter warm tones to make something come through and pop out and bring forward into space. So this makes a lot of sense. We've got yellow based shadows, we've got red based shadows, and blue based shadows, which, as you know, are our primary colors. So you've got a great variety. You've got a foundation of a palette that is really fantastic for a pro kit and for anybody. From the fairest to the darkest, it's absolutely, I think, beautiful. Now, the thing to note is that you don't have a very light shade and you don't have a black. And I don't think those are at all necessary in this palette. It would be a repeat. It would take up 2 spots that you need for these other shades. So no, I'm very happy that they didn't include them because it is an extension to their very already fabulous range of shades. And what you see here is that you have similar depth of color with a few of these shades with different undertones, and that's really important, especially when you're working with mixing shades. How I like to work is while you're building up your eyeshadow, I'm mixing shades to make it exactly what I want it to be. And if you have one shade that is a certain depth, you need to use it for every eye look that needs that depth, and that's just not good enough. So you need different undertones so that they mix without muddying up. Again, if you're curious, definitely watch that color theory video because you'll understand really well what I mean, and that colors will muddy even if it's the same depth. One brown is not the same as another brown. You really have to know what the undertone is so you know what shades it'll mix into cleanly. Overall, this palette is a new favorite. It blends like a dream. There is a little bit of fallout, especially when you're packing on the shadows a lot and heavily. You can get a little fallout. It has a powdery formula to it, but it's ultra pigmented. I call these pigments more than I call them eyeshadows, because you can mix them with mixing medium and you can use them all over the face. It doesn't have to be on your eyes. The amount of pigment in each of these is so strong while also being ultra blendable and insanely long wearing. So I am, get ready for this. You ready? Ready? It is past midnight right now. I don't know if you can see it, but it's 12:08 a.m. in the middle of the night. I did my eyeshadow before noon. It's been 12 hours of wear. I got so many compliments when I was out and about. I just got home. I was in 80-some degree weather for a while and I was doing all kinds of stuff. I definitely accidentally touched my eyes sometimes, and it stays put. It's not due to the primer that I used, although I do like my Makeup Forever eye and lip primer. It's not due to that. It's due to Viseart's fabulous formula. As another side note, I did use the Viseart, the eyebrow palette in my brows, and as you can see, they're fully intact. Fully intact 12 hours later, and it's just the amazing quality that you get whenever you buy a Viseart product. I know I sound like I'm sponsored or something, and I did receive this palette for free, but I would have bought it. Let's be real, you guys. I definitely would have bought it because I'm a huge fan. I feel like you can't beat it. It's ruined other palettes for me. It's the bomb, and I can't speak highly enough about it. It is neutral, but you got your rich tones that come off as real color on the eyes, and you can manipulate it to be however you like. These are really great pigments, and I can't speak highly enough about them. I can talk about this palette forever. I'm going to show you comparison with other Viseart palettes. The closest ones, I think, to this palette. I'm going to show you which shadows are either inspired by or repeat from another palette. There's only one repeated shade, you guys. And I'm going to show you finger and brush swatches in natural daylight. Okay, like I said, these are going to be in natural daylight, and I'm laying down a base of my Viseart eyeshadow primer first. I'm using my G27 eSIM Cosmetics brush. I really like for swatches for matte shadows. And I'm using a color switch in between each shade, and these are dry swatches with one dip into the pan each. I find that they are so smooth, and brush swatches really are a much better indicator of how everything's going to apply onto the lid because you use brushes as opposed to finger swatches. But I'll still share with you finger swatches as well. I'm working from left to right, top to bottom. This red shade was just so easy to swatch. It's very pigmented and smooth. Most of these are. The tougher ones are the ones that I wanted to demo on the eyes today so you could see how amazing they still are. But yeah, you'll see in my eye look what shades are a little bit tougher to build up in swatch, but perfectly fine when you go to use them on the eyes, namely the navy. But I swear it's so good. It doesn't have any issues when you're actually applying them on the eyes. This pink is really beautiful. It's like a rose pink, and it would just absolutely shine on a deeper skin tone. I want to get a model in here to film a look with somebody with a darker skin tone would be fabulous. So those are all the brush swatches. I'm going to start with more primer and then go in with some finger swatches. The finger swatches, a lot of people like to see them, so I'm going to share them, but it's just not, who applies matte powders on their eyes with fingers, right? It's just not as common a way to work. And I'm sorry about the first shade being so far off of the camera. I wasn't paying attention. Every single one of these shades has such a beautiful, rich tone to them. The formula itself, it has more kick up than my original Viseart Mattes neutral palette. As long as you don't mind a little bit of fallout, it's perfectly fine. I'm going to do some comparison swatches. So this third shade in this brand new palette was inspired by the fifth shade in the Siren Theory palette. As you can see here, the new shade is a little bit pinker, or more with a little bit more of a red undertone, and they say it's a little more pigmented too. And the navy blue is from the Grand Pro 1 palette, and to me they looked slightly different, but they're supposed to be this exact same shade. And I'm comparing now to the original, this middle palette is the very first original Neutral Mattes palette, and it's the sister palette to this new one. And I'm just showing you how, even though in the pan the shades look similar, they're actually quite different. And in the Neutral Mattes original, it just leans lighter in tone in general. It has a really great range, but a little lighter, and the new palette has richer tones and a little bit deeper, so that you can really work on all skin tones, and it's a fabulous addition, really. And all three of these top shades are from the brand new palette, as you can see me swatching, and I'm going to show you comparable shades from the older first edition, and show you how they're actually quite different and lighter in tone. I'm going to go ahead and compare this brand new palette with another one that a lot of people online were comparing this new palette to. I want to show you how different it actually is from their warm matte palette. So I'm taking shades that look the most similar and swatching them side by side. As you can see, the warm palette versus the Milieu palette, the reds are really quite different. And I'll show you the yellow tone compared to two of the yellow tones in the warm palette as well, and you can really see the difference. And essentially with the warm toned palette versus the Milieu is quite more neutral, and the warm tone palette is more like that sunset vibrant colors, more color and a little bit less neutral. I'm comparing this last sort of peachier shade to those other two shades I already swatched, so you can see what the difference was. The only reason I had this loose shadow out, that pinkier peach, that individual shade was from Siren, and I just wanted to show how neutral the Milieu shades are compared to the Siren Theory pink shade, because I heard somebody say that they were similar. So here I did some quick swatches of all three of these palettes, so you could kind of get an overview of all of them. And I hope that you can see that they are quite different, and that this newest palette offers a new and great addition to the neutral family. Okay, so those were the comparisons and swatches of what I thought was most comparable to this palette. And now I'm going to show you how I created this eye look, so you can see the blendability, you can see the pigment, you can see how everything comes together and what shades I like to pair together. And let's go. Okay, I've already primed my eyes using my Makeup Forever Step 1 Eye and Lip Primer. Taking this gorgeous palette, starting with the navy. I kind of want to use this tone and this tone together. Today, I'm going to pat this into the outer third of the eye. This is my Royal Nickel BOM 17. Put it in the inner corner to start creating that halo eye. This shade is so good. That took no time at all. A lot of times people base and these just work perfectly. We're going to start to inch those two together in the crease, shaping the structure of the eye look. Switching over to my Esom G27 into this gorgeous yellow based shade. I'm going to pat this onto the center. Overlapping with the navy a little bit. Going back to my first brush and circling around that yellow. Maybe you're gonna go ahead and take a little bit of that yellow on this brush and feather it around too, so that the two really start to mix together. Switching between the blue and the yellow to get that nice soft gradient. Give this spot eye effect. With the Esom S31 precision brush, I'm going to go into this plum to deepen out the blue in the very edges. These pigments are incredibly rich. With a bit more of the blue on my Royal Nickel brush, I'm feathering that color out. I think it's time to work on the edge all the way around the eye look. And I'd like to go ahead and use this one to start with my S33 by sweeping it all the way around. I'm going to then take the S33 and go into this lightest peach tone and feather that right on top. And with my Pat McGrath loose translucent powder with my W35, I'm just blending those edges out, helping them fade into a beautiful nothingness. I'm going to take whatever's left on this S31 brush and just build it up on the outer edge here. I don't really want to do the whole under eye. I don't want it to get too dark. So I'm just wiggling that in on the very outer edge so that it ties in with the upper eye look without looking too choppy. Taking my new Esom Dual Eye Pencil in Rose Aubergine, I'm going to go into the aubergine shade and tightline underneath the upper lashes. And with the rosé shade, I'm going to put that in the lower waterline. I don't have a whole lot of fallout, but there is some. So I'm going to take my wipe and clean that up. With the S33, I'm going to go back into that light peach shade, just using the very tip of the brush, and very carefully run that around the lower lash line. Okay guys, so that is the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Now I do have an affiliate link with Muse Beauty Pro, and all of that information is in the description box. There's actually a sale going on at Muse Beauty Pro, so definitely check that out and see what is going on there. But I so appreciate you watching, and if you are new to my channel, definitely subscribe to join the CakeFace fam. Alright, love you lots, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.